Moving on to another Arsenal transfer issue they'll have to solve this summer. It's the left wing situation. Now, this is an intriguing one because you've recently talked up. There have been no sort of proper reliable links with Arsenal and Eberechi Eze yet, but you recently talked up how he'd be an amazing fit for this system. Of course, scored that brilliant volley at the Emirates, their FA Cup masterclass against Aston Villa. And you've said previously that Arteta wants Nico Williams, but you want Eberechi Eze. So, I mean, for you, is Eze higher than Williams on your personal list of targets now?
I think he is. Yeah, I love Eze. I think he's such a fabulous player. He's just that type of guy who makes the difficult look so easy. I just think he's perfect for Arsenal. I know he's not an out and out left winger like in a Nico Williams. And look, I'm not saying no to Nico Williams. If that's where Arsenal go down and they sign him, then I'll be perfectly happy with that. But I just think what Eze would bring to this team is exactly kind of what they need. He can play on the left wing, but he can also play sort of centrally as well. He can play in and around the edge of the box. He can pick passes. He can unlock tight defences with either shots from distance, as we saw against Aston Villa in the FA Cup, or he can just thread a little clever pass through. I just look at what he would bring and add to this squad, and I think he's tailor-made for it. And I really hope that they go for it. I mean, I've not heard anything to suggest they would. This is purely my sort of opinion on what Arsenal should do and what they should need. And I just think he's perfect. I thought Michael Elise was perfect last year, and I was really disappointed that they didn't even attempt to go for him. And I look at what he's done at Bayern Munich, and I just think he's that kind of maverick player that Arsenal desperately need to add to this squad. And I think Eze falls into the same sort of category as him. And I just look at what Arsenal are missing, and I think he would provide an awful lot of that. So I would love it. And I'm sure Crystal Palace fans won't be appreciating me saying it, but I would love it if that was the route that they go down. But again, it's not something that I've actually heard that they are seriously considering at this point.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you there. I mean, he would obviously be an option, like I say, on the flanks or even as that Odegaard
Yeah.
backup. But, specifically on that left-hand side, we've spoken about Nico Williams. There have been, Leroy Sane was briefly linked. There's been reports, I think from Christian Falk this week, that he's likely to sign a new deal at Bayern. Is Joshua Kimmich 2.0? It looks like he's going to leave on a free transfer and then signed a new deal with Bayern. Alphonso Davies as well did the same. But of course, Sane, we know he and Arteta have that brilliant relationship, but he's already in his peak or maybe about to go past his peak. So is this one that you're going to be losing any sleep over?
No, no,
Didn't think so.
not at all. Not at all. Yeah. Bayern, any player that seems to be linked with Arsenal from Bayern Munich, it just immediately at the moment, I'm just thinking, yeah, he's going to sign a new contract pretty quickly. And it tends to be the way that happens. Yeah, look, Sane's a great player. He's been a great player, but it's just not really something that I see Arsenal sort of exploring too much. Obviously, the fact he would be a free transfer makes it a little bit more plausible than others, like the Kingsley Coman link and stuff like that. That one, I just think no way. But if Sane, at least you're not paying any sort of transfer fee. But even so, I think what we've learned from Raheem Sterling now, and I'm not comparing Sane to Sterling, saying that players are in the same position, but what we learned from Raheem Sterling is that you just sort of aging players who are probably past their best, and you're hoping you might sign and they might be able to sort of refine their best ever form. I think what we've seen with Raheem Sterling now is just one to stay away from. We've seen it with other players in the past. Willian's a prime example for Arsenal, and so I just think Sterling has to be the last of that sort of category of player that Arsenal go for. So yeah, no, not for me. Not losing any sleep over that.
Yeah, we know Arteta loves to experiment with these players who have had a bit of a rough time, especially at Chelsea. But yeah, I think you say that experiment has to end now. And it's intriguing as well because we've spoken previously about if one of Trossard or Martinelli was to go, it would likely be Trossard, of course, into his 30s, out of contract next summer. But like we were talking about earlier, he's really hit form this month. He always seems to hit form at this clutch time at the end of the season. 4 goals in his last 4 Premier League games. And the fact that he is delivering at such a crucial time of the season again, I mean, I don't want to talk about him playing his way into a new contract, but is he playing his way into maybe another season at Arsenal?
I don't know. I think that all with Trossard, I think it just all depends on what happens in the summer in terms of what might possibly come in for him in the summer. I think it's something that Arsenal would consider if a good move came in for him. I don't think they would actively be trying to shove him out the door or anything like that because he's a really valuable player and he's a good player, and he's still got plenty to offer. He's not too old or anything right now, so I don't think it's one that they're like, oh, let's get rid of Leandro. I just think it's if a good offer comes in for him at his age that he's kind of interested in, and the Arsenal are like, yeah, that's not too bad, then I think it's something that they would probably consider and ultimately may end up doing. But so I think it's just in case of what happens in the market and what arises from where will sort of determine what happens to Leandro Trossard this summer. But it's not one, like I said, that I think Arsenal would be really desperate to get him out the door.